Trees smashing, swamps brilliant, eyes bizarre, little monsters. Who doesn't bloody love nature? It's filled with the weird, wonderful creatures, plants and zooplankton of the world. But why should we give it a price tag? Hello, I'm Jay Lipman. This is the day before tomorrow, and today we're discussing nature. We all love it, but we don't value it in an economic sense. So let's explore the value more deeply, focusing on the costs of harming it and the opportunities presented by renewing it. We'll be covering a few arguments in favor of pricing nature: the economic argument and the intrinsic argument, which is, as I've said, everyone just bloody loves nature. Now, the breakdown. First off, nature is already the unacknowledged bedrock of our economy. The World Economic Forum has estimated that roughly half of global GDP, or around $44 trillion worth of economic value, depends on the natural world in some way. And the stats just keep coming, right? Healthy oceans contribute an estimated $1.5 trillion to the global economy. The global loss of pollinators would reduce agricultural output by an estimated $217 billion a year. And 2/3 of China's GDP risks disruption from nature loss. And for every stat on what we risk by not investing in nature, there's one for what we could gain if we do. Now, according to the World Economic Forum, again, a nature-positive economic transition could add over $10 trillion in annual business value and create 395 million sustainable jobs by 2030. So, what does a nature-positive economic transition actually mean? It means a new measure of wealth that includes natural capital in its definition of success. And companies are already recognizing that need and making changes. 56% of Fortune Global 500 companies have acknowledged a need for setting goals around biodiversity. However, only 5% have actually set targets. In contrast, 83% of those companies have set targets for climate change. This highlights perhaps the most challenging element of putting a price tag on nature or on biodiversity. We don't have a definitive metric here. Let's reframe it, right? Biodiversity is not as simple as looking at something like carbon, right, which is monolithic, right? Quantifying biodiversity uses a lot more data points, and those points are specific to each biome, which makes it inherently more complex. So what could be the planetary standard for biodiversity loss that is an equivalent benchmark to, let's say, 1.5 degrees Celsius? We're not sure yet. But if we can get closer to formalizing that standard, which looks like it might be possible given promising movement in the arena like the UN Biodiversity Summit, there are tremendous opportunities for the private sector. The 51% of Fortune Global 500 companies that haven't set biodiversity targets will likely be seeking aid in both establishing goals to align with that benchmark and in meeting them. Now, let's discuss the intrinsic argument, right? It's nature. Who doesn't bloody love trees and rivers and butterflies, right? It's nature. Right? Biodiversity is not a particularly controversial or political issue in terms of public support. Right? People's pastimes like hunting, fishing depend on biodiversity, and healthy ecosystems nurtured by biodiversity are important for climate mitigation and resilience. Saving nature is literally the definition of a win-win. So, what is the alternative here? Right, what happens to our future if we don't value nature in the fight against climate change? Right, a future where we're counting on technological solutions to capture carbon to bail us out of the climate crisis, right? That future, one with industrial scale carbon solutions as being the dominant method for helping us with climate change, is a world taken from a sci-fi novel, right? It's dystopian with these massive machines stuck in the desert, just sucking carbon out of the air. Now, we need those solutions. However, if we just rely on them, that future is ugly because it doesn't have nature in it. If we only focus on carbon capture in the future for climate solutions, what else do we lose? What happens to nature while we're only watching emissions? The great irony here is that in a bid to save the natural world from, changing climate, we may end up losing the natural world in our efforts if we exclusively chase carbon. It's nature. We love nature. It's the most human thing about us. But unless we put it front and center, unless we price it, unless we give it value, we are going to lose it. Then we risk ending up in a world without trees, without swamps, and without these beautiful little monsters.